Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Northern Block Podcast. It is Monday, March 31st, 2025. I am your host here, Nordic 97, joined by my other host, LeBlock James. LeBlock, how we doing?
We good.
Good. Very good to hear. All right, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about here today, so we're just going to hop right into it. First off, let's start off with the events in Philadelphia. John Tortorella is out as the Flyers head coach. Brad Shaw is taking over. There is a lot more to go into it, but you guys should know my thoughts by now. But I'm going to ask LeBlock first. LeBlock, how you feeling about this firing?
How do you feel about ruining the tank?
I am not happy about it at all.
I feel like Philadelphia, I think they've played 75, 74 games now. So it's been 2 since Torts has been fired. I feel like you could have rode out the year with him, but I guess there must have been an incident that led to this dismissal, because it's really rare to see a coach get fired with 10 games to go.
There was an apparent incident, the incident with Cam York, that happened in the game against Toronto last Tuesday. Apparently there wasn't any physical altercation, but there was a heavy, heated verbal argument between Cam York and John Tortorella, and as a result, Tortorella's gone and Cam York got scratched for a whole game. So that's what the rundown was, more or less. Now, I have beat this to death so much, and I know I have to beat it to death again in another episode. I am a little bit bittersweet that it happened, but it did need to happen. We needed to get rid of Tortorella. Just simply being put, it wasn't working out anymore in Philadelphia. With the criticisms, with how he's handling Mitchkov and the way he's been scratching players and limiting players and benching players all season. It's good that narrative can finally be put to rest, and we will be able to kind of just move forward without Tortorella in the fold. It is a little bit weird, as you said, that they are doing this with 10 games left in the year, and Philadelphia is trying to get a really high draft pick. Now with this coach Brad Shaw, and you see Matvei Mitchkov has gotten a weight lifted off his shoulders, an insane weight lifted off his shoulders, and as a result, he's been lighting it up. He has 6 points since the firing in 2 games. It's actually unreal the amount of points he's put up. I am a little bit frustrated that they do this now, and now we're gonna probably end up picking 6th or 7th overall. As a result, if we left Tortorella in there, we probably would have been picking 3rd overall. But it needed to happen.
Yeah. From the get go, when Torts got hired, I think it was 2. He only lasted 2 years, didn't he?
He was hired in 2022, so almost 3 years, but yeah.
Almost 3 years. I think from the get-go, I think we all said this wasn't going to be a good fit, and it wasn't really a good fit.
Apart from a mediocre season last year where they barely missed, it wasn't really that great of a fit. He was a good coach, just the wrong time.
I feel like also Torts, throughout his coaching career, Torts, I think, has made it clear Torts doesn't do rebuild. No,
he does not. So,
for him, to a team like Philadelphia, who we saw the signs, they're probably going to go through a retool and an eventual rebuild, that this wasn't going to work out. I don't think Tortorella will ever get another job in the NHL. I think he's done.
I don't necessarily believe that. I think he can definitely get a job. I could see a team picking him up midway through the year. I will say this, though. I do feel like, in a way, it seems like he has kind of grown out of the way the game is now. And the game has kind of grown out of him. Yeah. And the way that he was coaching back in the day, it just doesn't work out anymore.
He's going to be 67 in June.
He's 67? Jesus.
So I feel like if Torts is back in the NHL, he'll be in a management or a consultant role with an organization. I don't see him Torts is an old school coach, old school guy. You'll always know where you stand with Torts. He's very blunt. He'll give you the business. He'll give you if you're playing bad, he's gonna tell you you're playing like shit.
Yeah.
And
He's always been very admitting
yes, and
to
he
that.
doesn't care about your feelings.
No, he doesn't.
No.
I've learned that.
So in a way, like it's one of the coaches that it's a coach that sometimes some rooms need that kind of coach. But I feel like
Agreed.
the way Torts is, I don't think today's generation will respond well to a coach like Torts. It's sad but true.
Yeah.
And like throughout
100%.
Torts' career, Torts has coached 5 NHL teams. I just don't see a 6th team giving him a shot at head coach. He might be an associate somewhere, but I feel like this is the time for him to either go into management or he might go back to broadcasting.
I don't know. I think he's probably going to go back to broadcasting because he did do that for a couple of years. But it seems like, in my opinion, if a team was going to go out to get him, it'd be a young team, first and foremost. It'd be a team that is young and is looking to, get over the hump. I think that would be a team that Tortorella would go for. I do agree, like, maybe another job might not be likely, at least in a head coaching role. But, yeah. I mean, going back to Philadelphia, we'll have to see where they move in a direction. The number one guy that I've been saying on social media outlets for forever, and people who've asked me over the weekend, I want David Carl. That is my number one. He's with Denver right now. They're going to a 3rd straight Frozen Four with him there. He's won 2 of them. He's won 2 World Juniors with Team USA the last 2 years. This is a guy who can win. This is a guy who's been with young players. We are a young team. We've also had some of our players roll through Denver, so there's that connection there with Carl. I think it would be a perfect fit for Carl to be here in Philadelphia. Now, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I feel like they could also go out and get a guy like Rick Tocchet. I've heard Ian Lapierre's name being called up there as the head coach with Lehigh Valley.
I opened FanDuel and looked at now. Don't roll your eyes at me. I went to the Philadelphia Flyers next head coach odds. Do you want to hear the top 5?
That's a thing.
That is a thing. You can bet on that.
Shows how outside of the loop
We're not
I am,
sponsored.
and that
we are not sponsored.
Give me the top 5.
Number 5, Ian Lapierre. I don't know where he is or what he does, but you can.
Lehigh Valley. He's the head coach of the Phantoms.
Number 4, Brad Shaw, who is the current interim right now.
He's the current.
Number 3, Jay Woodcroft.
Yeah, I've heard Woodcroft's name in there too. I wouldn't be terribly against that, but again, like, we're not a team that's looking to contend now. Why would we go out and get a coach that wouldn't I mean, I don't know how he is with young players.
I mean,
I can't remember.
I think a lot of the young players liked him in Edmonton.
Okay, maybe it's a good option. I don't know.
Number 2, David Carl, the current head coach at the University of Denver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my number one guy. And
number 1 is Rick Tocchet.
Of course it is. Because he's a former Flyer. You see what he did in Vancouver the last year. I think if Vancouver misses the playoffs, then maybe he gets mentioned in there. But if Vancouver ends up making the playoffs, which it looks
weak at this point,
very unlikely right now for any team to get in there besides St. Louis, I could see it, I guess. But, like, again, like, I'm not terribly lenient on it.
I'm gonna be blunt here. If the Canucks fire Rick Tocchet, they're so freaking stupid.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, to be fair, you see what's going on there with the locker room. I think a part of that does lie on Tocchet as a coach. But I do agree with you. He has a really good track record. He coached some pretty bad Arizona teams and got them to some level of contention. As well as that, too, he coached Vancouver to their first playoff berth since 2020 and, like, their second time in, like, 10 years.
Some other names on this list, I want to hear your reaction when I say these names. I think it's fun. Okay. Joel Quenneville. Todd Nelson.
Fuck
no. Nelson's a coach.
Todd Nelson, that's the head coach of Hershey.
Yes.
I wouldn't hate that.
David Quinn.
Claude
Julien.
Not good. Hell no.
Todd Richards. He's a former head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I have no idea where he is. Joe Sacco.
I don't know him. I don't know enough about him. Sacco, not particularly.
Gerard
Like, I mean,
Gallant.
he's Gallant, no.
Derek Lalonde.
Lalonde? Oh my god, my girlfriend would lose her mind if we got the old Red Wings coach on our team. I not really.
Former Flyers coach Peter Laviolette.
No, I mean he's with the Rangers right now. Doesn't work.
DJ Smith.
DJ Smith? No, thank you. I might quit hockey if DJ Smith becomes the Flyers.
Just a couple more here. Andrew Burnett, if Nashville fires him.
Brunette, I wouldn't hate. I've always liked Brunette.
Luke Richardson, former Blackhawks coach.
No, the way he sees the young guys in Chicago. No,
I'm gonna say these are the three I think would be. Two of them I think would be hilarious. One of them I think that would be like a really good move for hockey. The two funny ones, Mike Sullivan.
I've actually heard that be spit around by Flyers fans, and I'm like, what are you doing?
It'd be so weird to go from Pittsburgh to Philly.
Yeah, that just doesn't. I can't imagine that.
Lindy Ruff.
Lindy Ruff? Hell no. I don't even. I mean, we heard that the narrative seems to be that they're staying with. He's staying with Buffalo.
And I feel like I don't see him leaving Buffalo either. And last but not least, Jessica Campbell.
I wouldn't mind Campbell.
I wouldn't mind it.
I mean, you don't really know what you're going to get.
I know. And that's the thing. I tell you, I think that would be good for hockey. I really do feel like you guys are going to hire David Carl, though.
I really hope so.
Unless, we've seen, but going back, history always for yourself, you guys also hired a longtime college head coach named Dave Hackstall, and it did not work out.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, my number one guy is David Carl. My number two, I guess, is Rick Tocchet. Number three, I'll go with a Jay Woodcroft. I mean, I want David Carl. That's my number one. I really won't budge for anything else.
I would say number one on my list, if I'm outside David Carl. Number two, if he's available, you go get Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't be I'm not all into the move, but if they went on and get him, I'm not.
I'm going to say number three, Todd Nelson deserves a shot in an NHL coach.
Yeah, sure. I mean, to be honest, it's a big transition going from the A to the NHL. You saw Dan Bylsma do it in this past year, and it didn't. I mean, it wasn't all his fault, but it didn't work out particularly.
Yeah, but
I mean,
Hershey's been a powerhouse the past couple of years with Todd Nelson at the helm.
They have, so we'll have to see. Maybe that's an option. Be kind of funny though.
Just don't have a LeBlanc reaction when it's not the person you want.
Don't worry, I won't be saying I'm going to jump off a bridge.
No, not the draft. Do you remember my reaction when we hired Travis Green?
Oh yeah, that was pretty bad. I mean, be for real. It kind of was a little bit ridiculous when you saw the other options on the table.
Yes.
At the time, now you're probably damn.
Right now, it's fine. Carl, Green has his faults, but he seems to actually, when he watches the tape, he actually fixes what he put down.
Yeah. But I will say this, at the time, with the track record in Vancouver, and then, he went to New Jersey, and then they missed the playoffs the year that he came over there. Wasn't good, but I think, hey, he's been a really good fit with Ottawa. He might be a contender for the Jack Adams. Anywho, I won't have a LeBlanc reaction when that happens. Let's move on from John Tortorella before I kill myself. We got some playoff stuff to talk about. First off, the Dallas Stars have clinched the playoff spot in the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. They are the third team to do so behind Winnipeg and Washington. Honestly, not a surprise. Really not a lot to say on Dallas for me. I mean, you knew they were going to get here, to be honest. As opposed to Washington and Winnipeg, you could have made arguments that I don't think they're going to make it, but I think you pretty much knew, the writing was on the wall. Dallas was going to make the playoffs, barring any insane.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Dallas. The only thing we had about Dallas Rutger in the offseason was their decor is weak. And I think they addressed that. They got Mikko Rantanen, which is not somebody you can get often. They started a little slow when after Rantanen, but now they've kind of picked it up. Stars should be a cup favorite, for sure.
Yeah, Stars are a favorite. I mean, like again, the biggest concern for me is that defense core. I mean, again, I think it's better. The only problem that I see though, again, with that D core, Muro Heiskanen may not be in the playoffs for the first round, and that could be a huge
Yeah,
problem.
that'll be like if he's not there, and if they have to play Colorado, that might be. I'm not saying it's make or break, but like I would rather have Miro Heiskanen in my lineup.
No doubt. Like that's the other problem too. That you're going to play Colorado, which sucks with this seeding the way the format is, because those are two insanely talented teams, and one of them is not going to be in the playoffs after the first round.
I think I don't want to go off track, but we've beat the seeding to death on this podcast about how bad it is.
We had the discussion on the Nordcast about having a 1v8, and just talking about it as much as I have the last few years. I'm 100% for it. But again, going back to it, it sucks that the format is the way it is, and they're going to have to play. One of them is going to be knocked out in the first round. It's going to make for a pretty damn good series at that.
Like if you had 1v8 right now, like here's the thing, 1v8 creates new rivalries. Yep. And 100%. Like if I had to see LA against Edmonton again, like I just might blow my brains out. Like I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, honestly, and it seems like that is the harsh reality right now of Edmonton versus LA. It's brutal, but overall, like I mean, going back to Dallas again, just a very good team. I think Jake Ottinger, like we've had criticism of Ottinger in years before. Like last year, he wasn't exactly the Ottinger that we knew him to be. I would say that this year he's definitely improved on that and has gotten a lot better. I think that Jason Robertson really is kind of built off of what it was a pretty rough start to the season. Guys like Wyatt Johnston have made a name for themselves. Acquiring Mikhail Granlund's been a good acquisition. And then obviously you get Rantanen, who has, definitely, I mean, he hasn't been what we saw with Rantanen in Colorado in Dallas. I mean, he does have 7 points in his last 5 games. So, I mean, he's starting to get production, but I don't know. I think this is a very good team.
Very good team. Definitely dangerous come playoff time. You got that forward core. That might be the best forward core in the NHL.
It's definitely, and like I think a lot of them are all like locked up, aren't they? Like they're all signed to pretty lucrative deals.
I think Duchesne's up. I think that's the only person who's like really up.
Duchesne's the only one, like that's the only one that they've been signing. Oh, Jamie Benn as well. And then obviously Mikhail Grant.
Well, Sagan's injured, but Sagan's up as well.
Sagan is also Sagan though, he's got a couple of years.
Oh no, you're right. It's the same contract as Ben, but it's different. That's my bad.
Yeah, a few years apart. But yeah, I mean like this is the same core that's locked up. They put all their picks into this year. They are locked in. It just sucks again, like missing Heiskanen could be like the make or break. Honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on from Dallas again. Like, not really a lot of thoughts with them. Like, they're a very good team. Like, I mean, with Winnipeg and Washington, there's that discussion of, the first round exits and the worry of
Dallas is proven, and there's an old saying, you know what it is. Like, you know what it is.
Yeah. Back-to-back Western Conference Finals. I think, like, the first 2 rounds mean almost nothing unless you lose in them. It's all what matters is that Western Conference Finals when we do get there. Let's move on to the teams that have been eliminated from the playoffs over the last couple of days. The Nashville Predators were one of the teams that was also eliminated. Kind of a surprise, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody expected for Nashville to miss the playoffs, and if you did, I don't really think you expected them to be this bad.
Yeah, I was one of the ones who I had them in playoffs, but I said they're not. I think I was the one who said they're not going to be as good as people think they are.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think they're. I don't think I had them in like a locked in spot. I didn't think I said they'd be locks. Just like. What's weird is, like I said, like, with all those new guys meshing together, I just didn't know if it was going to all work out.
Yeah,
and it didn't work out.
And we say that a lot when, like, a team brings in a lot of new guys. Like, we say, like, is it going to mesh well? But Nashville, like, what a disaster. What a disaster.
What's weird, though, is that sometimes it does work out. And Washington was one of those teams that brought in so many new players. and they're like first in the NHL. It's just really weird to think. But yeah, going back to Nashville, it's been an absolute disaster. I mean, all of those signings really have not lived up to the hype. Marchessault's been solid, hasn't been like anything to blow to rave about. Honestly,
He's been good. He's been I wouldn't say as advertised, but he's playing up to his contract at least.
I would say of the three that were signed, that being Marchessault, Stamkos, Shea, I think Marchessault's been the best of the best.
Stamkos taking a step back. We kind of expected that though. And then Brady Shea, you're locked into that for a while.
Yeah, that was a. I mean, do you remember that play at the beginning of the season where he got absolutely deked in that one game in overtime? It's gonna be a rough next 6 years for Nashville with him at the helm. One guy who really took a step back this year, like a huge step back, Roman Josi.
He's getting up there in age. He's 35 now. He's
Jesus.
like I love Roman Josi. Roman Josi has been a great defenseman, but this year he's just you could see the signs of regression.
So you think that's what this is, and not just the team really struggling?
I feel like because they have good young guys. They traded some of them away, but they have some good young guys in there. I do think Nashville. I think we said this before the signings too. I think I said even when they're in the playoffs, like Nashville's just holding off a rebuild.
Yeah. What's wild is outside of his 2020-21 season and his first 2 years in the NHL, this has been statistically his worst season of his career.
Which is not surprising, but I would say like it's shocking. Like he's been bad. Like Nashville needs more youth. Yeah. Nashville needs more youth. They have I don't want to say they have too many vets, but there's a lot of vets.
Now, the thing is that Trotz is not in like a perfect position, but like he put himself in a decent position as opposed to like, if all these guys pan out, then that's great. Or they all pan out. But if they don't pan out, which is where we are right now, he can just kind of rebuild. And I think that's what he's trying to do. He has 5 picks in the first 2 rounds of this year's draft, so he's going to try and build up on the youth a little bit. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, if we see some trades at the draft, because Trotz, I feel like, always loves to trade at the draft.
True. I know we mentioned it last podcast. We said, we mentioned Nikita Zadorov last podcast for Boston. Who's going to want to trade for that? Hear me out.
I'm sure Trotz can make it work out. And while they're at it, they're going to trade Vegas' first over to Boston.
But hear me out here. Zadorov for Shea.
That's like mid for mid.
I know, but
like one trade.
But here's the thing: it could work out, or it could not work out.
It could work out. That's not. I mean, I'm not saying that that's like impossible, but Jesus, man, like I really don't think that's like.
LeBlanc, this is not chill. You can't just swap mid for.
Yeah, well, it ain't chill. So exactly, I don't know, to be honest.
I don't know, but going back to Nashville, there's a lot of work to be done. Like there's going to be substantial movement after. Do you think Burnett gets fired?
I thought that at the beginning of the season, and I called for that multiple times. I really don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like if he's here now, there's no way they let him go now, like after the season.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think he's like honestly here to stay. And again, like I wonder what they're gonna do in the offseason, because they really don't have anybody coming off the books besides some of the younger players. I forgot Verana was with them. You also have Andreas Anglund is like your biggest guy that's expiring. Luke Evangelista is an RFA. There's really everybody else is kind of like locked in for the next 2 to however many years. I wonder if they're gonna make like big trades and try and just kind of tear this down. Like I feel like you can move O'Reilly, you can move Bunting, you could probably move Roman Josi.
Here's the thing, though.
Maybe
Nashville, Trotz has this thing where he doesn't want to send a player where he doesn't want to go.
Yeah, and that's not how you do business, and that's why Trotz
and that's a coach's mentality. That's not a GM's mentality.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
O'Reilly, I understand O'Reilly. Like here's the thing: for O'Reilly, I get it. Like he's been a vet for so. Same with Yoshi. Here's the thing: if you're going to Yoshi, yeah, we're gonna trade you to Chicago. Yeah, I don't know how that would go over, and I think pretty sure Yoshi also has a no trade clause.
He does. He has a no movement clause, so you have to go to him about basically everything. So yeah, I mean, like again, like I don't know. O'Reilly though, with O'Reilly, we heard like he doesn't have anything on his clauses. Like he doesn't have a no movement clause, doesn't have a no trade clause. Can move him literally
Yeah,
anywhere, but no.
you could trade him to San Jose, and he
You basically gave him what Trotz is doing is basically giving him like
leverage.
a under the table no movement clause.
Yeah,
Or no trade clause. Under the table, no trade clause. Like that's pretty much what
which from a
is
GM
there.
standpoint is like, why are you doing this?
From a like again, I like what you said. It's like a coach's mentality when Trotz is no longer a head coach. You are a general manager in the National Hockey League. You cannot be operating
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
this is business. This is business.
It's business, and I think that for him to be having that mentality, should be fired. To be honest with you,
It's his first year as GM. I'm gonna give him some slack.
yeah, I'll give him some time.
This I like.
But
Here's the thing. I feel like Trotz is always gonna be like, all right, we need to make some serious moves. I feel like there's gonna be a urge to get younger in this roster. You look at this roster. I feel like the Predators have one of the oldest rosters in the league. If I'm not mistaken.
definitely, it's definitely. I mean, the core is pretty old. I mean, you look at Stamkos 35, Marchessault 34, Forsberg's even 30, Yossi's 34. The only guy who's like relatively like in their prime is Saros, and God bless him.
Yeah, and then like the only young guys you have are like they got Evangelista, Sveshkov, LaRoe.
Nothing to really scream
Yeah, and like
about. Then again, though, they have third overall, so they could get somebody like Martone, Higgins, Issa, maybe.
yeah. But like yeah, like all those guys I mentioned, the young guys, like the best one there is Evangelista, and like Evangelista is like probably at his peak a second line forward.
Yeah, he hasn't even really had that good of a year this
And like
year.
the prospect pool, I look at Matthew Wood. Matthew Wood's the best prospect, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that though.
I would say yeah. In my opinion, to be honest, he probably is their best guy. I'm trying to think like who else is in.
Because I have no. I'll be honest. I don't. I'm kind of blanking on who they have in the pool right now.
We got Yegor Surin. That's the only other guy.
Surin should be good when he comes over. I was real high on him at the draft, but
I mean, that's about it. To be honest, like they're really in just such a polarizing.
They
spot,
are. They don't have a pool, but they have picks. So here's the thing: they can use those picks they have. They have 3 firsts.
Yes, 3 firsts. You have their own. They have Tampa Bay's, and they have Vegas. So you'll probably have top 5 first and a mid to late.
You have
first.
3 firsts, but here's the thing: it's probably one of the worst years to have 3 first-round picks.
It is. This draft is just so mediocre, which is a little bit annoying as a Flyers fan when you're trying to tank, but it's how it is. I mean, like again, there's definitely gonna be like in this draft, there's definitely gonna be gems that come out of it, but it's nothing that like you look at like compared to like 2023 and even like last year. Like last year wasn't that terrible looking at it now.
Yeah, but here's the thing about like having 3 firsts, no matter what draft it is. Here's 1 first-round pick. Okay, here's my own first-round pick. I get 1 chance at the board. Here's 3 first-round picks. I get more chances at the board. Boom. It's more likely that 3 are going to hit, like 2 out of these 3 are going to hit in the first round than 1 hitting.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. With Nashville, the offseason will be very telling of whether or not they're going to be like, yeah, we'll kind of just, trade away some of these guys and try and tear this down as opposed to, we'll run it back. I don't know. But I think
they're in from my perspective they're in a bad spot, but they have assets to play with.
They're not in a good spot. I don't think they're not in a
It's not a horrible spot. It's not, but you're not at dire straits yet. But you're in a bad spot.
Yeah, you're approaching a really bad area, especially if next year they can't seem to figure it out.
Think about it. They just signed Saros. They just signed Forsberg.
You just locked up your core essentially over the last 12 months.
So,
and let me be honest with you, last year was low key a fluke.
I'll be honest. I'll say it was a fluke.
Yeah, it was, because I think if you don't have that point streak,
you're not in the playoffs.
I don't know if you make the playoffs. Honestly, I don't know if you make the playoffs that year. I'll go back and look at the numbers if you want to give me a second. But outside of that point streak, I really don't think they would have made it. Honestly, looking at the numbers right now, yeah, at this point. On February 16th, before the point streak that they went on, they were outside of a playoff spot and decently far out of one too. That point streak skyrocketed them into a playoff spot, and that's why they.
I'm gonna be real. It's weird for me. It's weird seeing Nashville be this bad. They haven't been this bad since I was growing up. When I was growing up, Nashville was the doormat of the NHL.
They were always a contender.
Yeah. So when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Nashville. It was Nashville and the Islanders. They were the NHL's doormats, and that was the standard. And they haven't been this bad since that time.
Yeah, now we're kind of getting back to that time. So it's just weird how that works. One decade you're good, the next decade you're trash.
Yeah.
No, it is. Let's move on from Nashville to Seattle. The Seattle Kraken have also been eliminated from the playoffs over the last couple of days. Seattle, not a surprise, but I think there's really going to be some real soul searching with Seattle.
I was high on Seattle coming into the season. I thought they could make some noise. I picked a core to win the Vezina. That aged like milk.
I mean, he wasn't bad. It wasn't like he was terrible.
But he wasn't Vezina caliber. That's the idea of the day.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
The team, I feel the additions they made. Here's the thing: Stevenson was analytically. Stevenson is not good analytically, but on the stats and him playing, say he's still a good player.
He's a 50-point guy.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he leads Seattle in points.
He is, I think, second or third in Seattle's scoring. I looked at it earlier today. I can pull it up for you. But yeah, he is second. Yeah, he's second in points. McCann edges him out there in the lead. So yeah, Stevenson hasn't been bad, but you're a team that lacks goal scoring. You go out and get a guy who's a passing machine, and then you go out and get Brandon Montour, who I think was a good add too. Well, first off, Stevenson is horrible, defensively. I think, when he's not giving you the puck and making passes, especially on a team that really can't score, he's not really that useless. Again, he only has 11 goals this season. It's not pretty.
Yeah, but,
for a guy who's that much money.
I think Montour was a good add. The fit's been kind of wonky. He's still a good defenseman.
Absolutely.
Stevenson, analytically, But here's the thing.
That's not the only problem, in my opinion.
Here's the thing, and you say he's a pass-first guy. Here's the thing. If you didn't spend all your money last offseason, there are some really good snipers in this class upcoming for the free agency.
That's true. That is true. Here's another problem, though. A guy who should be a sniper, but he's not. Matty Beniers.
Here's the thing. I never saw Matty Beniers as that sniper guy. He was always a defense-first kind of guy.
Yeah. But the point production
is not where it should be for second overall pick. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. He's better than he was last year. So he's improved from the sophomore slump in 23-24. But this year in 24-25, it's not much better. I mean, he has more goals, he has more assists, he has more points, but it's not at that caliber of the Calder Trophy that he had in 22-23.
I'm going to say this. I don't want to say this because we've seen this with another player on a team. But Who else got picked second overall? I don't want to say it's happening, but like, has Matty Beniers plateaued? Like, is this?
I don't.
I still want to give him
know.
hope because there's another player who also plateaued at this age, who also got picked second overall. I want to. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Why did Nolan Patrick come to my name?
No.
But he's never plateaued.
We're not at Nolan Patrick. No. We're talking about Andrei Svechnikov.
Well, Svechnikov, I think he lied about his age at the draft. I don't think he's as old as he is. I think he's older. Those Russians, I don't know.
Yeah. A nice some bright spots though. Shane Wright.
Wright has been a really good spot. He has almost as many points as Beniers. The jump over to the NHL has been success after the last couple of years. I don't know. Capo Caco as well has been good since coming over from the Rangers. Those have been major positives, in my opinion. I also want to say losing Vince Dunn for as long as they did at that and in the season, I think it really did hurt.
Yeah.
Because I think Dunn, as good as Brandon Montour is, I think Vince Dunn really kind of glued that blue line together as a very underrated defenseman on that.
Vince Dunn plays defense. Montour, he's a defenseman, but jury's still out.
But here's the narrative that we have been saying: Ron Francis should lose his
job. Yes.
I understand that he made a good trade with the Oliver Bjorkstrand deal, getting 2 seconds, trading away Yanni Gord as well. The Capo Caco trade was good, but
those offseason
the Stevenson signing,
all the offseason moves he's made, I want to say ever have not panned out.
Almost ever. Stevenson not worked. Burakovsky really didn't work out in Seattle. Grubauer might be the worst goalie signing ever. Montour was definitely better than the others, but still wasn't up to the hype of a $7 million guy.
He's been a good trade though. Like when he trades, he usually comes out on top in the deal.
Yeah, he's been a good trader for sure. Just the contracts really kind of screw it over. The Alexiak signing. The Adam Larson signing, like he looks bad even before he's on that contract.
Yeah, like he was with Edmonton, and he was like, he's okay. Like he's okay.
Yeah. The only decent signing that he's made was the Dackert signing.
Yeah, Decord. Decord has been added. He's also been a bright spot for them. He's a young up and comer. But yeah, like Seattle needs. I feel like Ron Francis should lose his job. I don't think will he get fired. Honestly, I don't think so.
I kind of don't think so either. I haven't heard enough that says that his job is on the line.
Like, here's the thing: there's no smoke. When there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, I think this is just us speculating and saying
I've heard and seen nothing about Francis' job being in jeopardy.
We have nothing to back up that there's a case there. We just think there should be a case. 100%.
But, like, also, you look at Seattle's pipeline. They have one of the better pipelines.
They do, when it comes to forward core.
Draft a defenseman!
If they get lucky and the lottery balls go their way, they need to get Matthew Schaefer. Listen. Or even if they're at that 4th overall pick, or where they are right now, draft the next best defender available. Like,
draft a defenseman.
Draft a defenseman. Like I mean, like outside of Caden Price or Lucas Dragicevic, who are not all that special, you have like nobody on that back end.
Yeah, so you need a guy. Even if let's say they're picking 4, if you can pick up Jackson Smith, who plays in Washington State right now, you could pick up Radim Murka. Those are the only two guys I would take that high. I'm not gonna lie.
Besides, if Schaefer's
there, if he falls to 4, I'll be flabbergasted. Like I'll be genuinely shocked. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they win the lottery,
yeah, no. If they get one, and if they get one and they get Schaefer saves Francis' job.
Quite literally, I 100% agree with that. I think like to be honest with you, I think we even said in the post in the Bjorkstrand deal when we did our trade deadline stuff, we said that this trade might even save Francis's job
Yeah, we did.
temporarily. So I don't know. But
yeah, like for the spot, Seattle's not in a bad spot though.
They're not as bad as Nashville. They're
they
building.
have guys coming up. Like I think the year they went to the playoffs, that was a fluke.
It was fun, but it was
fun.
Fluke.
It was fun. I was in the building for actually one of the games they went when they made the playoffs. Like when they were yeah, no, it was fun. But you need to build. The fan base is still showing up. The fan base is still at 100% capacity they're one of the highest attendance rates in the league.
Apparently they love their Kraken. They wanted to see
Seattle sports fans love their sports. Like they love their sports.
Totally.
And the ownership hasn't pissed them off yet, so they're going to show up.
Yeah. Who even is the owner there in Seattle?
It's Jerry. It's
I was about to say Jerry Jones owns that team.
No, Jerry Buckheimer is one of the owners. He made the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Of course he did. Yeah, he's one of them. Amazon CEO.
Yeah, Bezos.
Okay. Andy Jazzy.
Yeah, because there's an Amazon. I think there's like an Amazon like hut in the arena.
Yeah, so I mean you've been there, so you wouldn't know. But yeah, Seattle and Nashville have been eliminated. Let me ask this question before we get into our tier list. Who do you think will be eliminated first? Or who do you think will not eliminate? Who do you think will make the playoffs first in future years? Is what I meant.
Here's the thing: Nashville has a chance to bounce back. Like this, all for Nat. Like here's the thing: you say playoffs were a fluke. This right here could also be a fluke.
I'm glad that I'm not the only one that was thinking that.
I feel like Seattle has the pieces to make the playoffs first.
Yeah,
because the road Nashville is turning. Nashville isn't turning the corner. They're making a whole U-turn.
Yeah, they're making a U-turn. Seattle, I think, has like the younger core, better chance at getting there. Like I think if they could pick up a real guy who can snipe and shoot pucks and score, I think there's a decent chance. But
Seattle check is for the offseason. Right, ready for this? Sign one of Brock Besser and Nikolai Ehlers, and draft a defenseman.
Yep, that's our two things that we're going to be saying about Seattle until June. Okay, that's all we got for Seattle. Shall we move into our March?
Yes, we should.
Okay, let me pull up the screen here. All right, it's our March 2025 tier list. LeBlanc, do the tiers look good to you? Oh, we got an ad about bacon, egg, and cheese.
Oh, bacon! Oh, we got bacon, egg, and cheese.
Do those tiers look good to you?
They look perfect.
All right, so we got Cup Team, playoff locks, playoffs likely, wild card battle, playoffs unlikely, and tank.
So for a twist today, playoff locks are going to be teams that are clinched. Actually, no, wait, we're not there yet. We'll do that in April. But yeah.
Okay. All right, Anaheim Ducks. Playoffs unlikely.
I think playoffs unlikely. I think they've really kind of stepped it up as of late. They're not in the tank zone anymore.
No, they're not. And I think that's a real positive. You can see that there is real improvement there. And the fact that they're doing that with Greg Cronin in the position that he's in, and I've heard so much criticism of Cronin, I think it's definitely it's a great look. It's a very good look for Anaheim and their future moving forward. Like again, like they're only until St. Louis started running away with it, they were only like 6 or 7.
Yeah, like it's a step in the right direction. So
yeah, 100%. Detroit.
I think they're still in the wild card battle. I think they still have a chance. It's a small one.
They're in the lower tier of it, to be honest. They're battling for a wild card spot, but they're not. I'm not picking them as the favorite to make it. Like their schedule is just so.
It's brutal. I think I went over it last night with shout out Tim. With Tim and There was one winnable game in that schedule, and that game was on Saturday.
and
They
they
won
won
that
that
game.
game.
It's really they play Washington 2 more times, I think. No, I don't. No,
Yeah, well, I mean, you get the gist. They have a very hard schedule moving forward, and I think it's very unlikely Detroit gets in. Washington, as you said,
we've been very, very, very cautious around Washington. I'm gonna have
I am going to say this. I think they are a cup team for a purpose. A lot of it is because they are first in the NHL.
yeah, that's fair. I think we'll put it over there until we get to our when we get to our playoff tier list, and when playoffs start, then we'll have a conversation.
Well, yeah, yeah. Then we'll have another conversation. But right now, I think they are a cup team in that sense. The Oilers.
I'm gonna say playoff lock. I don't see them as a cup team.
At least as of right now,
Yeah.
I don't. Just with, I think I'm gonna be blunt with you. Seeing LA the way they are, I think it's not out of the question that they beat Edmonton in the first
Yeah,
round.
Edmonton also has this thing where they refuse to have good goaltending.
Yeah, I will say this though. I think having Leon Draisaitl and McDavid, even if is because of injury, having them rest for a little bit is good.
It is good.
That might be the biggest advantage they have. The Florida Panthers. I am low-key not as leaning in on Florida as I've been in previous years. I will agree and put them in cup team, but I'm not
Once
raving
once
about
they
it.
get everybody back, like that's like when Kachuk comes back.
Okay. Okay. All right. I can get behind that, but I don't know. It's just I'm a little worried about it. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. The LA
They're a
Kings.
playoff lock.
I think
Yeah,
they're a
they're a
lock.
lock.
They're a lock. They might beat Edmonton.
This might be the year they actually have like a very good chance to beat Edmonton.
Yeah, with the way Edmonton's playing, if they lose in a fourth straight year to the Oilers,
Rob Blake
brutal.
is toast. Look, I mean,
Oh, Rob Blake is absolutely toast because he again did nothing at the deadline. So
to be fair,
Who the hell
Kuzmenko's been
knows?
fitting in pretty well.
He's been okay. He hasn't been star-studded, but he's been all right. I'll say that. The Minnesota Wild, who are tied with the
I'm
Blues,
gonna
by
put
the
them in
way.
playoffs likely.
Yeah, they're not a lock. I mean, they like St. Louis could get ahead of them, and they play Vegas. And I think Vancouver, like if they keep, I mean, like they've kind of been winning games. Like if one of them can go on a run, I don't know.
Yeah, like I
Not
mean, the
possible.
fact that Minnesota has a chance to drop, like Minnesota has a chance to not make the playoffs.
Just the injuries, I think, really kind of killed this team. Just with like, I mean, not having Kaprizov really hurt this team's chances. Trying to fight for a spot, so that's kind of how I look at it. But take it with what you will. Montreal,
Wild
Canadiens.
card battle. They're in the thick of it right now with for the last wild card. I wouldn't put them in playoffs likely just yet.
Sorry,
Because I looked at the odds today. The 4 teams chasing the spot all have a 25% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, so it's not out of the question at all. They are above the playoff line right now because they have more. Oh, interesting. What is the tiebreaker for the playoffs?
Regulation
Is it
wins.
points percent? How is that even possible? Because the Rangers have more than
It's
Montreal.
because
but
the
they're
Rangers have
above.
played more games.
Oh, that's what it is. So at the end of the year,
It's regulation.
the Rangers will. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Still a little weird though. Anyways,
But go back to Montreal real quick. Montreal, I said they'd be fun. They'd be a fun team. This team might actually make the playoffs.
they're more fun than we thought. Honestly,
I hate to say that. I hate to say that.
Nashville. Nashville's tanking it 100%. New Jersey. I'm not even going to go into it Nashville because we
went out a whole thing about Nashville. So New Jersey playoffs likely.
They in a lock. I think they have a better chance than Minnesota.
Yeah, but here's
Because-
the thing. The only reason they miss playoffs is if New York catches them.
New York, I will say this: New York is like 7 points back, and there's like 5 games. There's like 7 games
Yeah.
left. I mean, it's not impossible, but I don't know. Like the Devils would have to lose out, and the Rangers would have to
I've
win
seen
out.
crazier things though. So
No, I think they have a better chance than Minnesota in that sense, though, because New Jersey. The thing is like you have 2 Atlantic teams that are in those wild card spots right now. If they have more points than you, like Ottawa's a point back of the Devils. If they have more points than you, it's not a big deal because they just go above you in the league standings, not the wild card standings. So that's a big advantage. Now, if we were doing a 1v8 seeding, it would be a thing, but it's not a thing. The Islanders, they're in that wild card battle. It's a little shocking they are, to be honest. They always seem to find their way into it.
It's like this thing where it's like no matter what you do, he always comes back. You know, the cat came back the very next day, like type vibes. Like,
yeah, seems like that's what the Islanders.
Like, why
really
won't
are.
you die? Why won't you?
Yeah, it's like 100%. The Rangers. Rangers are kind of the same situation. I think
they're in a better situation than the Islanders. So
for sure, they're tied with the Canadiens for that spot.
And like the Rangers do this thing where it's like one night they look horrible, like absolutely, like they should not be in consideration for that wild card spot. The next night they're blowing teams out. Like,
yeah, it's really weird how they are. I mean,
they blew a 4-2 lead to Anaheim this week and lost in overtime.
They did, and then like they went like 0 for 7 on the power play too. Like that's.
And then the next night they beat up San Jose 6-1.
Well, that's not hard. Any team in the league can do that, except for Toronto. All right,
Boston. I'm putting in playoffs unlikely. They've
no. LeBlanc, hear me out here.
Ooh, they're 2-7-1 in their last 10. So I
post. Well, hear me out. If we're putting Philadelphia in tank. We're putting Boston in tank.
I am going to look at the points. I want to see where they are compared to Anaheim. They're 3 points back of Anaheim. So, yeah, we'll put them in tank.
Well, I mean, you look at it's different with Anaheim because look at the Eastern Conference compared to the Western Conference. I think they have been terrible post-trade deadline.
I feel like there's work. Like, for me, tank should be the bottom 5 teams.
Yeah, but like post-trade deadline, there's been more than 5 teams that have been just shitting the bed. And I mean, Boston's only like 7th worst.
You know what? I'll agree this time.
Okay. Your Ottawa Senators, hear me out, LeBlanc. I'm gonna do this to you.
Don't put me in tank. Don't put me in tank.
Yeah, you're in tank. You're tanking. Playoffs.
Listen, this feels like a jinx. It feels like a.
It does. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Mean, put them in playoffs likely because I'll be honest, their chance right now is 99%. Unless they lose the rest of their games, they're going to make the playoffs.
Unless they lose out, they're a playoff
if they lose
team,
out, I will be distraught.
Yeah, I don't think we can continue this podcast then. After this, especially. Yeah, Philadelphia. I'm doing it voluntarily. We're tanking those bitches. I will say this though: if they keep winning games, maybe that opinion will change. They're only like what's weird and what's funny is like they're only like 6 points back. Like they're not that far away.
Are they actually only 6 points back?
Oh wait, 8 points.
They're 8
they were
points.
6
Yeah,
points.
so yeah, they're
They were 6 points this morning. Okay, they're 8 points now. Every team has played less games than them. That's the other issue. They aren't making it.
They're not making it. Pittsburgh's showing signs of life, like they're still in contention, but they're not going to make it.
Yeah, they're unlikely. At this point, they're just winning games enough to really screw themselves out of a draft position, to be honest. I'm going to knock these 2 out right away. San Jose, they're tanking. They're bad. Seattle, they're also tanking. They're also bad.
For St. Louis, do you want to put them in wild card battle or do you want to put them in playoffs likely?
Look, they are 6 points ahead of Vancouver, Calgary, and Utah.
Calgary's got games on them though. That's the only issue.
They got 3 games on them. However, Calgary has not been Calgary. And I'll get into Calgary in a little bit because I do have some words to say. But I'm going to tell you this: if we put St. Louis in wild card battle, we have to put Minnesota in wild card battle because they're tied in points.
I think there's no like St. Louis is rolling. They've won 9 in a row. Put them in playoffs likely.
Yeah, I think like it's going to take all the other teams to win out for this to happen. So, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, I think.
Tampa's a lock.
Oh, Tampa's a lock, yeah. For sure.
You could argue that they're a cup team, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Toronto.
Toronto is a lock. They're not a cup team. They're just a lock.
They might screw around and win the division, though. That's the weird thing.
Listen, what a Leafs moment would be. Win the division, then get knocked out by your provincial rival.
That would be the matchup.
That would be the most Leafs thing ever, though.
It'd be insane if you guys came into the playoffs and then you played Toronto.
And then we beat Toronto.
You know I'd take
that. That would be the nail in Shanahan's coffin.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. That would be the nail in his coffin. Utah, I'm going to take this one over. They're in playoffs unlikely for me.
Okay.
They are, I will say this, they are 6 points ahead of Anaheim. But they're 9 points
back. They're cooked. Like, I don't mean to be.
Like a couple weeks ago, they were in like a terrific. They looked like they could make it.
Yeah,
but St. Louis won 9 in a row, and it kind of just knocked everyone out, except for Calgary and Vancouver.
Hear me out with Vancouver. Playoffs unlikely.
I'm not going to disagree, to be honest. I think they're very unlikely to make it. Just the struggles this year. It not enough is justifying it for me to put them in there.
Yeah. Buffalo. You know what it is. Like you.
Thanking. You know what it is. Vegas.
Honestly, Vegas Cup team.
I think you got to put them in Cup team. I think that's totally fair. I mean, they're first in the Pacific Division. They are. They won the Cup like not even 2 years ago at this point. Winnipeg, for the same reason we put Washington in Cup team, you got to put Winnipeg in Cup team.
Here's the one thing about Winnipeg. I'm going to say this. Winnipeg, if I'm Winnipeg and I see St. Louis, I'm shaking in my boots.
They want to play Minnesota.
They really, because they're tied. Minnesota and St. Louis, as of right now, this recording, are tied.
It's a narrative. I mean, we had the narrative a couple weeks ago where we thought that like if they play Calgary, like Wolf could steal the series, but I would like them to play Calgary more than St. Louis right now. They're begging for Minnesota, no doubt.
Talking about Calgary, I'm gonna put Calgary in wild card battle still.
I am, because of the games in hand. Here's the thing, though. They are really looking like the Philadelphia Flyers from last year.
Yeah.
The more and more I look at Calgary, it feels like Philadelphia last year, where they were unexpectedly good in a year where you thought they were going to be pretty bad. I think a lot of us thought that they were going to be, like, pretty terrible. And this, they have Dustin Wolf come in. He's been really good. And now they are falling out at the worst time. And that's what Philadelphia did last year. Here's the problem, and here's the difference from Philadelphia and Calgary. Philadelphia sold at the trade deadline. Calgary did not. And Philadelphia had their first-round draft pick. If Calgary doesn't make the playoffs, Calgary will not
have their draft pick. They've won too many games. They're too high up now. They'll lose it to Montreal. And I'm looking at Calgary's finishing schedule. They play the hard opponents. Tomorrow they're at Colorado. They play Vegas at home on the 5th. They play Minnesota on the 11th. They play Vegas on the 15th, and they go at LA to end their season. They do play Anaheim in there twice. They play San Jose, and they play Utah as well. So they have some hard games. They really needed that game last night against Edmonton.
Yeah, they needed that win. If they got that win, maybe they get in there.
I know, like I would love to see another Canadian team in the playoffs. I'm all for having a Canadian team in the playoffs, other than Toronto. But like I wouldn't. They have games in hand, so if they beat in their next 3 games are at Colorado tomorrow, at Utah on it's back to back, so at Utah on Tuesday, and then at home against Anaheim on Thursday. They win those 3 games, they're back in it. Like
the games in hand are really what's at play here.
I said it famously on this pod. Games in hand only matter if you win the games.
Exactly. So they need to win the games. If they win their next 3 games and they tie St. Louis in games played, they will be a point back. So it is imperative that you win games if you're the Flames. Otherwise, you're like the Western Conference Flyers. For being blunt. Not as bad, but
here's also another thing though. If Calgary loses out, they get their draft pick.
No, they don't.
They have to be bottom 10 to get their draft pick.
Do they? I don't know if that's possible. Where they end up being bottom 10.
Oh.
For them to be bottom 10, they would have to.
They'd have to be below Anaheim.
17. They would have to get below Anaheim, and I just don't see Anaheim getting 8 points. It's not impossible, but if they lose out and every other team wins out, then sure.
They play Anaheim twice as well, so if they lose both those games, that's 4 points.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not impossible, LeBlanc.
But I still think their goal right now is to fight for the wild card spot till the end.
Absolutely, that should be the number 1 goal. The Carolina Hurricanes.
Lock.
At least this year, I feel like they're all.
I think their cup window is slowly closing.
No,
you don't think so?
I would not say that. They have such a young
here's the thing. They're not as good as last year.
No, but look at their roster. You're acting like they're in the same sense of LA.
No, they have not in that. I'm saying I feel like they still have a chance at the cup, but I feel like it's like the door was wide open last year. Now the door maybe is 70-75% open. I'm not saying it's.
Oh, I thought you were saying their cup window is closing.
No, I don't. No, I said it's slowly. It's not as big as it was last year.
Okay. All right, I get that then. Chicago, they're tank. They're tanking. They need to get Misa in this year's draft.
They don't draft Misa. There's going to be some problems.
Unless if he's just not there, which is very hard to believe. Colorado.
Oh, man. I love the Colorado team. I think they have a really good team, but lock. We'll go lock. I think last year too. I liked Colorado's moves last year. I like their moves this year too. I feel like they could be a team that goes to the 3rd round. They could be a team that gets out in the 1st round though, because of the seeding.
Yeah, exactly. Columbus is in that wild card race. Even after losing 8 as many games,
they lost 7 games in a row.
They're still right there, which is really
crazy.
Weird. What's funny is that every other team lost while they were losing. And even a couple of days ago, they were in a playoff.
It's funny they had the 4 wildcard teams, and they had the records in the past 10. Just nobody want the last wildcard spot.
That's what it was last year. Everybody was just so mid, and nobody wanted it. It'd be funny if the Flyers won out and they came so close. And then they missed.
And then Dallas. I want to put Dallas in Cup team.
Yeah, we kind of went into a discussion about Dallas. I think it's fair to put them in Cup team. Okay. Any other changes that you think we should make off the bat?
I think Ottawa should be in Cup team. No, just joking.
Yeah, okay. Ottawa and tank. Flyers in Cup team.
Do you want to put Tampa in Cup team?
Yeah, I do. I was thinking about that. I want them in
Yeah,
Cup
I
team,
think this
honestly.
is perfect then.
Okay. All right. Let me read off the list. In the Cup team category, the Washington Capitals, the Winnipeg Jets, the Florida Panthers, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Dallas Stars, and Tampa Bay Lightning. In the playoff lock category, you have the Edmonton Oilers, the LA Kings, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Colorado Avalanche. In the playoffs likely category, you have the New Jersey Devils, the Minnesota Wild, the Ottawa Senators, and the St. Louis Blues. In the wild card battle, you have the Montreal Canadiens, New York Rangers, Columbus Blue Jackets, Detroit Red Wings, New York Islanders, and Calgary Flames. In playoffs unlikely, you have Vancouver, you have Utah, you have Anaheim, and you have Pittsburgh. And then in the tank, you have Boston, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Seattle, Nashville, Chicago, and San Jose. What's funny is that there are more teams in tanking than there is in any other category, which is kind of fun.
Like usually we only have 5 teams in that category because like the 5 worst teams, but like post trade deadline where it's like, you know,
Philly's terrible, Boston's terrible. I mean, like it'd be pretty hard to sell people on putting them in playoffs.
You could argue Pittsburgh should be there too, but Pittsburgh's actually showing signs of life.
Pittsburgh's winning games.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's 6-3-1. They're in their last 10. So
yeah, as opposed to Philadelphia 3-6-1, Boston's 2-7-1. They have like 5. They have like 3 wins since the Four Nations break.
Crazy.
So, brutal run they've been on. They went like 0-5 on that road trip they went on. So yeah. All right. That being said, that'll do it for this episode of the Northern Block Podcast. We'll be back with you next week. LeBlanc, any final thoughts?
Who do you have winning the Frozen Four?
Ooh, yes. I'm going to go with Penn State just because they're my boys. But if I'm going with the I want David Carl on the Philadelphia Flyers from perspective, I'll go with Denver.
I feel like Denver's going to repeat. Unless I have a feeling, though, Western Michigan could surprise people.
Alex Bump. That's the only guy I really know on Western Michigan. And then BU, the other team.
BU could win it. Here's the funny thing. In basketball March Madness, we had, like, almost no upsets. Like, we had, like, very limited upsets compared to past years. In the hockey one, we had more upsets. The top 4 teams are all gone.
It's funny. Yeah. Cornell beat Michigan State. That was... I mean, what's funny is that LeBlanc had, like, a Frozen 4 thing that he wanted to post. And I was kind of busy all week, and I didn't get a chance to make it. And LeBlanc was like, "Did you post it yet?" I'm like, no. And he's like, "Good, don't." That's it. Because like all the teams that he picked lost.
I had Penn State in the Frozen Four though. So
you did, and I was somebody who was like, "I don't think so," but I got proved wrong by my own school.
MSU's out, cool. Maine's out, Minnesota's out, and who's the other 1 seed? UConn. UConn
was also UConn did get to the finals. They weren't like upset first round. They lost.
And then BC. Sorry, not UConn. BC got upset.
Yeah, the only thing is though is like you're playing the back-to-back national champions. It's like either way.
Like here's the thing: BC and Michigan State were like the best teams all year, and they're both not going to the Frozen Four.
Yeah. I was 100%. All right. That'll do it for the pod. Thank you for watching. We'll see ya in the next one.
Ciao.
I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Man, I just do what I do. To know about you, I just do what I do. Check. That's the intro. See that? Yeah. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Yo, check. Let me flip this script. I feel privileged for all who can witness this. I am close to divine. Know the moment is mine, need an omen or sign. Providing a back sound to all the squares that ask around. Be getting it, my skills pay me. Trying to get a million, baby, with an adopted flow that God gave me. Tell whoever runners that they spot is temporary till I take it, it's mine. I'm selfish, you will. Tell Miss I'm on my wealth tip. So when we cash out soon, I'm just investing. No yes men, I've been a legend since before mom and dad had me and was best friends. I chew through comp, don't test them. I chew on tracks cause after that I bless them. I just do what I do. You see me? I just do what I do. I just do what I do. I don't know about you, I just do what I do. Check. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Feel me? I just do what I do. I don't know about you, I just do what I do.